The history of modern football spans over 150 years. In that time, thousands of footballers have laced their boots. While all have contributed, there are a select few who we revere. In this series, we look back and ask of those legends, how good were they really? Let's start with an easy one. Ronaldinho's early career makes the case more footballers should start with futsal. He told Sports Illustrated, "Futsal had a great deal of influence. A lot of the moves I make originate from futsal. It's played in a very small space and the ball control is different. And to this day, my ball control is pretty similar to a futsal player's control." Born in Porto Alegre's favelas to a footballing family, he was a precocious talent by 7. Big brother Roberto played for Grêmio from the late 1980s. Seeing Roberto's little brother had talent, Grêmio signed Ronaldinho in 1987, and he played in their youth academy for nearly a decade. As a 13-year-old, he scored 23 goals in a 23-0 victory. That match put him in the national spotlight. 4 years later, he was a key member in the squad that won Brazil's first Under-17 World Cup. Ronaldinho made his senior debut in the 1998 Copa Libertadores, but he broke out in 1999. As a first-team regular for Grêmio, he scored 22 goals in 47 appearances, earning himself a call-up to the national team. There were 2 major competitions in 1999. He won the Copa America, and though losing the Confederations Cup final to Mexico, he was named player of the tournament with 6 goals in 5 games. By 2000, he was recognized as one of the best players in Brazil. We'll come back to this later, but let's include him creating a nemesis by destroying Dunga in arguably the biggest rivalry in Brazilian football between Grêmio and Internacional here. There's only so long talent outside of Europe can stay before the vultures come. After 3 impressive seasons for Grêmio and standout performances internationally for Brazil, Paris Saint-Germain decided in 2001, maybe we should sign this guy. This was 10 years before the Qataris arrived. Achieving tangible success in the mid-1990s with George Weah and Leonardo, the next few years saw fiscal crisis. To remake PSG's image, then owners Canal Plus signed JJ Okocha in 1998, Nicolas Anelka in 2000, and a 21-year-old Ronaldinho the year after. Despite conflicts with manager Luis Fernandez about his gluttonous consumption of Parisian nightlife, Ronaldinho proved in La Ville Lumière his game was fit for Europe. Playing 2 seasons with PSG, Dino scored 25 goals and provided 17 assists in all competitions. That's enough to start a bidding war. Manchester United and Barcelona were the main contenders. New Barca president Juan Laporta, yes, that one, made it his mission to sign the Brazilian. Needing money, PSG accepted 30 million euros for their star boy. He was unveiled at Camp Nou July 20th, 2003. Picking Barcelona over Manchester wouldn't have been difficult for a nightlife enthusiast, but it also provided a perfect marriage stylistically. In England, Ronaldinho would have been shackled, worrying about being crushed for his flicks and tricks. And if Sir Alex Ferguson had issues with David Beckham, imagine corralling Ronaldinho in After Dark Manchester. La Liga, Barcelona, and manager Frank Rijkaard was the right blend to make Ronaldinho the global superstar his talent demanded. And in 5 seasons with the Catalan Giants, he showed exactly that. His first goal for the club came in unique circumstances. Playing Sevilla in his Camp Nou debut on September 3, 2003, the match started just after midnight. Laporta doing Laporta things. In a packed stadium, Dino did his customary wizardry, dribbling past players, striking from 30 meters, hitting the bar, and having the ball bounce inside the goal. It was a warning Barcelona were creating a team with which to be reckoned. They finished second in La Liga that season, and in the summer of 2004, Rijkaard spent 45 million euros altogether on Deco and Samuel Eto'o. He also added this 16-year-old from La Masia called Lionel Messi to the senior team. I don't know what he saw there. Leading Barcelona in scoring his first season, Ronaldinho's complete game was more pronounced with Eto'o around. He was free to create knowing that he had a striker to feed. Eto'o scored 25 La Liga goals and Dino more than doubled his assists. Their output helped Barca win their first league title since 1999. The high watermark of Ronaldinho's career were the 2004-05 and 2005-06 seasons. He was FIFA World Player of the Year in 2004 and 2005, UEFA Forward of the Year for the 2004-2005 season, and included in UEFA's Team of the Year in both 2004 and 2005. His greatest individual achievement came in November 2005 when France Football awarded him the Ballon d'Or. His Ballon d'Or was followed by Barcelona defending their La Liga crown and winning the 2006 Champions League in the Stade de France vs Arsenal. Following Barca's successful campaign, Ronaldinho was named UEFA's Club Footballer of the Year for 2005-2006, adding to his impressive list of honors. 2006-2007 was another solid season individually, but it didn't help earn Barcelona any major trophies. Dino's professionalism, or lack thereof, maybe caught up with him in 2007-2008. He was hit with a rash of injuries, the most serious keeping him out for 3 months, but Eto'o, Messi, and Thierry Henry more than covered. The writing was on the wall. Rijkaard left, Pep Guardiola was hired, it was a changing of the guard. Pep's reign started by selling Deco to Chelsea, and Ronaldinho, who'd played 207 games for Barcelona with 165 goal contributions, who'd won 2 league titles and a Champions League, to AC Milan for 25 million euros. Ronaldinho's injuries traveled with him to Milan and slowed his adaptation, but with time, he rebounded and in his second year provided his last top season in Europe. Playing over 40 games for the first time in 3 seasons, Dinho was an effective forward, scoring, dribbling, and creating for others. He gave 15 goals and 19 assists to Milan during the 2009-2010 season. Ronaldinho regrettably wasn't the same in his 30s. Years of partying and hard challenges took its toll. When the January window opened in 2011, he went back to Brazil. But Milan did send him a 2010-2011 winners medal for his trouble. The next 5 years were spent playing for Flamengo, Atlético Mineiro, and Fluminense, with time in Mexico mixed in. After 700 appearances and 17 years as a professional, Dinho effectively hung up his boots in 2015, making it official in 2018. A common question on Talking Tactics, but did he ball in a World Cup? Ronaldinho featured just twice at the world's premier sporting event, but he made his first chance count. South Korea and Japan hosted the 2002 World Cup. The favorites were defending champions France, but after they crashed into the group stage, that left Brazil in control of their fate. Standing out was Ronaldinho's forte, but Brazil had no standout star. They were a unit. Dinho completed the 3 R's attack with Rivaldo and Ronaldo, aided by Roberto Carlos and Cafu. Brazil dismantled their group, winning all 3 games with an aggregate score of 11-3. Rested during the last group stage match, he was reintroduced in the round of 16 against Belgium, where he assisted the opening goal and a 2-0 victory. The quarterfinal versus England was perhaps the most interesting match of his career. Michael Owen scored first, pouncing on a Lucio mistake. It seemed England would go into halftime up 1-0, but in the 3rd minute of first half stoppage time, Ronaldinho got possession in his own half, ran towards England's goal, bamboozled Ashley Cole, found Rivaldo to his right, and he leveled the scoring. 5 minutes into the second half. Now, whether he meant it, we'll never know. He is Ronaldinho, he is Brazilian, so he does get the benefit of the doubt somehow. Like, maybe he saw David Seaman off his line. Unfortunately though, 8 minutes later he was sent off for fouling Danny Mills, but nobody really dwelled on that part. The goal and the assist were the major takeaways. Brazil survived the last 30 minutes with 10 men, and Ronaldinho served a 1-match suspension in the semi-final against Turkey, but he was available to play Germany in the 2002 World Cup final. The final was Ronaldo's night. He scored both goals in a 2-0 victory, but you really can't tell the story of Brazil's 5th World Cup without Ronaldinho. It hasn't been enough to claim horseman status from Half Hope, but if you're asking the question, did he ball in the World Cup? 3 assists and 2 goals in 5 games doesn't lie. There must be balance, and one brick Ronaldinho can't avoid was the 2006 World Cup. The latest Ballon d'Or recipient winning La Liga and the Champions League weeks prior, the 2006 World Cup was meant to be Ronaldinho's showcase. The 26-year-old was in his prime and at the peak of his powers, but in 5 games, he underwhelmed. Brazil's tournament ended in the quarterfinal, with 34-year-old Zinedine Zidane single-handedly bossing the match. It was the last time Ronaldinho would play in the World Cup. Now, if you'll allow me to speculate, remember that clip of Dunga we showed earlier? Well, he became Brazil manager after the 2006 World Cup, and I suspect never really forgave Ronaldinho for embarrassing him. So in 2010, after giving Milan a season which really deserved a call-up, Dunga left him at home. Brazil again lost in the quarters, and the omission perhaps dampened the 30-year-old's spirit and was what drove him back to Brazil in 2011. But in any event, the 2006 World Cup is an unavoidable blemish. To be honest, there are too many moments. He controlled the ball with his back. He scored maybe the best bicycle kick ever. This shimmy and finish against Chelsea is always classic. He even snuck in a drink from a goalkeeper in 2013 to create an assist. But the best Ronaldinho moment is simple. 1 week before receiving the Ballon d'Or in November 2005, Barca played Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu. Obviously a heated rivalry with much contention. You'd never expect a Barcelona player to be applauded by the home support, but Ronaldinho gave a virtuoso performance. Terrorizing Sergio Ramos, he coolly slotted past Iker Casillas not once, but twice. And the Bernabeu had no choice but to show their respect and appreciation for the world's best player and gave him a standing ovation. Dinho wasn't the first, Diego Maradona has that honor. Andres Iniesta and Lionel Messi have gotten similar praise in Madrid Stadium, but it shows the level of football the Brazilian was playing at his peak. So for me, that has to be his best moment. Before the 2006 World Cup, Nike ran their Joga Bonito campaign. The Ballon d'Or winner was given some Tiempo legends, and this happened. It was the first YouTube video to hit 1 million views. Such was the power of CGI and Ronaldinho in the mid-2000s. He's been on the cover of both FIFA and PES. He was sponsored by Coca-Cola until he drank Pepsi in public. And maybe the greatest feat of his career, he was a prison futsal champion in 2020 after passport issues in Paraguay. So, how good was he really? Were you not watching the footage? Of course, longevity is part of the conversation. So that his peak only lasted 4 years is a hit, but there aren't many players who hit higher heights. Dino was incredible and is perhaps the most skillful footballer to play 11-a-side at the top level. From his hair to his walk to his technique, he was a player you couldn't help but smile when watching. And if football is about making those who watch happy, then nobody has Ronaldinho beat. This series is brought to you by our patrons. Without their support, we wouldn't have the time to dedicate to projects like this one. So to all who've supported us, we'd like to say thank you. Also, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you next time.